Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's the man whose life's motto is to be uncomfortable in the comfortable. I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our final Monday night of the Big Brother Canada season. We are back from Toronto. We made it. Everybody made it home okay, I think. And here we are, ready to talk about the finale week as we get ready for Thursday's crowning of a new Big Brother champion. And we've got a fun show tonight. Not a ton to talk about from the episode, but plenty to speculate about as we look ahead to Thursday. And it's a very special show here tonight because we have a great guest with us and a great member of the RHAP family who is hanging it up and is walking away from the podcasting game, from the podcasting streets. Here is the great Jordan Parhar. Jordan, how are you?
Rob, it's great to be here. Wow, so crazy. 2 years later, and here we are, the one last ride, Rob. Here we are. Who would have thunk it?
Here we are, and boy, Kevin's going to be so surprised when he gets out of the house.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is, I think, because this isn't something that I really talked to him about before before he went in the house. He knew that OTT was a little crazy, though, so maybe he'll have a little bit of an idea. Okay. But yeah, one of many surprises for him, I'm sure.
One of many surprises. All right, and of course, also here with us to talk about everything going on the live feeds, which also have retired for the season. Here's Alex Kidwell. Alex, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, not a whole lot that I can really bring to the table tonight in terms of fresh information for people. But yeah, it's nice to be here to send Jordan on his way, so to speak. And yeah, Kevin, I mean, he's used to surprises this spring at this point. I mean, it's just par for the course. He'll handle it in stride.
Of course. Nothing has gone the way Kevin's thought it was going to go. So I guess he should be used to surprises. So fun stuff on the episode tonight. Really nothing of note strategically comes out of it. We see Dimitri win the HOH. We see Ika get mad at him. Nikki Graham came by. And then we got to see, of course, Dimitri had to really think long and hard about the nominations because it's like, okay, gotta get my short list going. Okay, who do I want to nominate? Okay, Kevin, you've been such a big threat all season long. Mano Imana, got to put you up on the block. But then, okay, there's Karen. All right, nobody's mad at Karen. I guess I could put her up on the block. Or my girlfriend with a horrible temper, I could possibly really shake things up, put her on the block because nobody would see that coming, right? Expect the unexpected. Why did we have to see Dimitri's talk us into that he's going to put Ika on the block, Jordan?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's this point of the season. It's funny. I love how they're trying to make it seem like, oh yes, this final HOH is so important for the nominations. It reminds me of Big Brother Canada 2 when Sabrina won that final 4 HOH, and she was trying to say to John how she controlled so much that week, and it was like, no, not really. You have immunity, and that's it. I think they really, to be honest, I think they were just short on content, I guess, and they were just like, all right, let's put something in there, and boom. Yeah, but you'd think, though, you have Nikki Graham on this episode. Just get Nikki to do something stupid. Like, I don't know, or funny.
Like, she was tired.
She was tired, right? I don't give her more vodka. That could work, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, she started to climb that thing that one time, but
yeah. What they should have done is like have Dimitri's like start that and then like do like record scratch and be like, like Dr. Will and Mike Boogie, like just like laughing. He's gonna put Ika on the block. It's like, well, Ika has been pretty mean to me lately.
It would be pretty fun. I mean, it would be hilarious if he did that. I mean, I love Dimitri already, but my respect for him would go up that much more if he, as a joke, just put Ika on the block. Although I would fear for his life if he were to do that.
Well, as ridiculous as that whole segment is, because he's obviously never going to do it, it's even more ridiculous by the fact that it doesn't matter if he does. Whoever wins the veto just decides who goes home. So if he put Ika up or put Karen up, that outcome is the same if Kevin were to win veto.
Okay. All right. We want to also set things up here. Hashtag RHAP to get your questions in. We've got a busy week of podcasting coming up. So no show tomorrow in terms of our Big Brother Canada coverage, but Wednesday night, We've got who's on the Wednesday show, Alex?
I believe it's going to be Taryn, Brent, and Melissa.
Okay, Taryn, Brent, and Melissa covering Wednesday night, where we will see how the Final Four veto plays out and presumably see one of the house guests walk out to an empty studio with Arissa, setting up our final three. And then on Thursday night, the 2-hour Big Brother finale, which starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. I believe it's all hands on deck for the LFC coming up on Thursday. And then that will be at, 9:15 p.m. Eastern time for that show? Live?
Right, yeah, because it's 2 hours, but it's moved to 7. It starts at 7, so that sounds right.
Okay. Of course, Jordan is going to be headed up to Toronto, that right on our heels, and will be at the Big Brother Canada finale.
Yes, that's right. So if you are in the Greater Toronto area, you're at any of those finale festivities, make sure you say hi.
Okay. And then on Friday, I believe that we should have Final Four exit interviews with the winner and entire Final Four coming up on Rob Has a Podcast. So very much looking forward to that. And then I can weigh in with my thoughts on the finale if I have any, because it might just be a pretty straight shot here. I think that I guess we'll get into more of that when we get to spoilers. But all right. So let's just touch on the show. Jordan, do you like the Big Brother Awards?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's better than doing, I think Big Brother US, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. I feel like the last couple of seasons we've had a clip. Well, we have had recap. Of course, Matt Hoffman. How can we forget the recap of the recap, right?
Yeah, that was like a
middle of the season.
Yeah, and at
right?
least they brought in Wyclef Jean and stuff.
Yeah.
Was it Wyclef Jean?
Ziggy Marley. It was Ziggy Marley.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
That would be an upgrade.
Yeah. Wyclef would have
Wyclef.
been something to.
Yeah, he would have been. Wyclef would have been an upgrade. But
yeah, right. Now I'm remembering that it was not nearly as cool as I was thinking.
Yeah. No, I to be honest, I do kind of like the BB Can Awards. I don't think they are. I think it was cool to see Nikki at this point in the season. I'd rather have that than have some random clip show. I will say it would be better if it was just like an episode where there was strategy or veto competition or something happening. But there wasn't anything happening. So yeah, I'll take the BB Can Awards. And it's kind of, you know what, they have fun with it and they get all dressed up and it's something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. Did Nikki Graham bring anything to it?
I expected more from Nikki, to be honest.
I thought it was kind of maybe she was really tired.
I think she must have been really tired. She said, she was like, I was on a flight for 8 hours yesterday. Yeah, I think that had to have played a role or something in it. But I like when they have two people in there,
that's good.
Gary and Ika. I think that's better.
Right. I think that Nikki Graham is funny, reacting to stuff, but I don't know if she's good at hosting things. I think you like somebody to come in who's just gonna really start to roast the house guests or really start to call them out. Nikki does not have any idea who these people are. She was just sort of in there. She was tired. She was oh, maybe I'll climb the wall. That was really. I'm trying to think of who would be a better host for it. I actually think that Godfrey would be really good, Jordan.
Yeah, Godfrey. There you go. I like that. Godfrey Manguiza. It would have been perfect. I mean, the biggest crime of this season is that we did not get to see Godfrey Manguiza, the Lady Pleaser, play this game one more time. That's number one. But number two is, nice consolation would have been, hey, bring in Godfrey for these BB Can Awards. He's a Toronto guy. He's local. Wouldn't have been hard to get him. Or even for, they could have swapped in Godfrey. They could have swapped in Sarah Hanlon for this and then put Godfrey.
She'd be fine too.
She'd be fine, and then put Godfrey where she was on that last thing that she did with the freeze task. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like either of them would have been an upgrade over Nikki.
Tim would have been good. Palace hosted a segment before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like you just want somebody who's going to come in and be able to, make some jokes and do some roasting of these people at this point in the game. But I think everybody was excited to see Nikki Graham. It sounded good on paper.
Yeah, it sounded good on paper. I think it's the I think what they want is to have they previewed it last week. Arissa said, "Oh, Nikki Graham's coming to the house," and they want to get the fans excited. If you want to get the fans excited, Nikki Graham is going to do that. If you want to have her roast people or tell jokes and be off the cuff, probably not the best person for the job.
Okay. All right. So ultimately, we got to see our awards. Jordan, I wanted to do tonight. I thought of it too last minute. I thought that we should have done the Jordan Parhar awards tonight and given those out for.
I could do it off the fly if you want.
Yes. Best interview of Jordan Parhar all time. We have Will Wall or Poppin' Paul Jackson.
I mean, I love Will Wall. I mean, he's a great kid, but I think we have to give it up for Poppin' Paul Jackson. I think it was highly inappropriate. Many people called it it was one of those podcasts, Rob, where people said, this is the worst podcast you have ever done. I'm never listening again. That was half the people. And the other half was, oh my God, this was the greatest thing I've ever heard. Please have Paul back tomorrow.
I'm always happy to be part of shows like that.
Yes, it was just like Marvin, Rob. It was just like Marvin. But
I'm the only common denominator between those two train wrecks.
Yes, you are. Alex was there both times. That's right. And Paul, he showed up. He was late, and then his internet died, and then he showed up, and he was like, dude, I'm back. And yeah, it was a train wreck.
Yeah. Did you interview him once or twice?
No, just once for Paul. I think I was nervous you were going to get more emails saying fire Jordan if I were to have Paul on again. So unfortunately, we couldn't have my mustard water dude back on again.
Yeah. So any upsets at the awards, Alex?
Well, I think Kevin was a little surprised to beat an actual relationship with William there.
Yeah, Kevin was like, no.
Loving that. Yeah. Let's down. No.
Yeah. Aika's reactions were priceless. Everything. Like, she was like screaming during like when they were showing her kissing Dimitri, but then she was really going like, I don't know. Did the house guests not really know the extent of the Kevin and William? I'll say quote unquote showmance. I feel like
it's a showmance. It's a showmance.
If you're on a show and you hook up, that's a showmance. You weren't.
It's a showmance.
You weren't on the show.
The term was originally coined. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Dr. Will and Mike Boogie talked about a showmance, like, hey, we're on a show and we're being romantic with you, but it's not a romance. It's just a showmance.
It's come full circle where now people are like, I don't think he means it, so it's not a showman. It's like, wait, no, let's go back to the rule book on this one.
Maybe if the Big Brother Canada feeds are off, does it count as a showmance?
Feeds mance.
Yeah.
It's something. I mean, that's, show, whether it's a romance or a homance or whatever you want, it's all a showmance. It's taking place on your screen.
Yeah. But Kevin seemed like, and Aika was really that she was really I mean, some of those like where he's like taking his shirt off, like nobody, I don't think people knew.
No, I don't think they did know the extent of it. I think they knew like cuddling and stuff like that. And there have been some things I'm sure if the house guests saw, they'd be like, okay, whatever. But that was the steamiest of all of the Kevin and William makeout sessions, especially when he's like, William, take your sweater off. And William's like, oh, and then Kevin puts it on. I mean, that was pretty good. So I thought it was fun and a little bit of a surprise for the other three house guests.
I've never seen that move before where two people, one person disrobes, the other person puts their clothes on.
Yeah, that's an interesting move. I don't know where Kevin got that from, but I kind of liked it.
Very intimate.
Yeah, style points. I'll take it.
I also really liked tonight that we got to get the backstory from Karen of where did this deep-seated rivalry come from, and we found out it was all from Alex. Did we know this beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was the origin point.
I didn't know that this is where this was from. Way back when on day 3 that they lied to Karen, and on day 6 they tried to save Mark Chrysler. It's all came down to Mark Chrysler.
He told you he was important, Rob.
Yeah, he was my best friend here, and then that little slithering snake, Kevin Martin, tried to get my Mark Chrysler out of the house.
It was the opposite. Yeah. All these young blonde guys, all these young pretty white kids trying to band together.
More like the anti-Chrysler. That's what I call him. And then Kevin tried to say, I mean, good on Kevin, though. Good instincts, though, to realize that Dimitri was going to be the thorn in his side for the entire season. And if only that Kevin would have had such a cakewalk this season,
right?
The plan would have worked.
Week 1, this Kevin was onto it. He had it figured out. I mean, same for Bruno. They knew.
It out, Kevin. I think people are not giving you enough credit for that, knowing that I need Mark Chrysler, that he needs to be here with me in this major alliance.
If Kevin was Karen, he would have been the whole season. Would have been like, I knew it, that Dimitri. But no, Kevin's more humble than that. He's just he's just chilling.
No, I mean,
we knew this was. I was just going to say, we knew this was the origin point of the discord between Kevin and Karen, but we didn't necessarily know that Karen had the wherewithal to, still point to that as the reason she dislikes Kevin, and then B, that it was really still driving her dislike of Kevin.
If you cross me, don't come back. I don't mess around. That's it. So, oh boy, I mean, this Karen could be like laying this all out, like all the things that Kevin did the whole season. She could be getting the case ready, Jordan.
She could. I don't know about that, but yeah, Karen's an interesting one. I'm very much looking forward to her exit interview at the end of the season. I really hope you do your Karen impression to Karen, Rob. I think that would be great.
I just don't want to get on her bad side. I feel like
you already know Kevin Martin. You've met him, so you're already on her bad. Yeah, you're already on her bad side, Rob.
Yeah. Oh boy. I don't know if that. You think so? You think, Alex? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
I've been
depends
a Karen
on if she decides to listen to stuff online.
Rob, you've been a Karen advocate, but logic just goes out the window with Karen. You do one thing. We saw tonight. You do one thing, and you're dead. You're dead to Karen. You are friends
Kevin's
with
been trying to win her money for months, and she.
Yeah, Rob, I know everything. I've been getting updates the whole time. I know you've made jokes. I've heard your little voice. I don't think it's funny. I used to like you. I liked you on Survivor Amazon. Now I hate you. No, Karen, come on. Please.
That reminded me of when she said Johnny Mac lied about his dead grandmother.
Johnny Mac lied the whole time. I knew about his grandmother.
Poor J Mac, man. And it's funny, Johnny Mac's gonna go to finale, so I'm gonna bring that up to him and be like, Johnny Mac, how could you? How could you lie about grandma? This is the guy, Karen.
Yeah. Okay. Ika also really was hard on Dimitris about not letting her win the HOH. This is just life with Ika.
Yeah, I mean, this is at this point, right? I mean, we've seen this all. Alex, you've seen this on the feeds all season. I mean, Ika. God love her, played a great game, done so well, but sometimes her emotions really go with the wind. And what's Dimitri supposed to do? Like, poor
He's
guy.
been on this roller coaster for weeks now. He knows the twists and the turns to a degree. And I mean, she runs hot. We know that about Ika. You give her time and she cools down and realizes I'm being petty. It's cool. You had to win that. Obviously you had to win that. So she's not irrational. She's just hot emotionally. She, in the moment, she's not wrong in being frustrated that she felt like she needed to win that for her. I get it completely.
But one of the things I really like about this season is that with this Final Four, and I think that, everybody here is a fun character, where I like that relationship. There was that scene where Ika and Karen were both putting on makeup, and Ika was sort of really hard on Dimitri. But then also Karen is there, and Karen, we all have teased about Karen this season. Karen also has this life experience where they've talked about her as sort of the fairy godmother, but she does have some wisdom, and Ika can talk to Karen and do you think I was too mean was I too hard on him? And Karen can be like, yeah, that was hard. that was hard on him. That was not good. That was, you were really, that was bad. And so it's like, oh, I have to feel bad for him that he won. It's like, that was hurtful. And so it's really like a fun, like a sort of like this is like a funny couple. And then Karen is like the mother-in-law that's like
marriage counselor.
Yeah, marriage counselor. So, but then she also hates Kevin. So it's a fun dynamic with this four. So I think that we really can't complain with how this season is looking here at the end. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, and the final four, yeah, really, really interesting characters. And it's also crazy that, just looking at kind of the way it plays out down the stretch. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, I think, if it's really that there's that much deviation. I mean, in previous seasons, I feel like we really have a hard time deciphering who's going to win. And this time it's more like, just, one of these people are going to win, and it's really not a big deviation in terms of like where the jury vote's going to go. We see a split pretty much. It's like a fork in the road.
Yeah. Now, did you guys get to watch this video that was posted of the jury talking about the what their thoughts are, Jordan?
I saw the link to it, but I've just been so busy on social media responding to people today that I actually didn't watch it. So did you watch it, Alex?
I did. I've watched this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your take on this? Because I don't remember them doing this before.
So they've done this before, but it was kind of, I feel like it didn't get as much, buzz when they did it last year. And I remember it specifically last year because watching that video is what really gave me the impression that Nick and Phil can't win. It really sounded from what they were saying in that video that they had a lot of respect for Kelsey, and that, Nick and Phil just, they didn't have a lot of appreciation for the way those guys got to the end. So I remember that was really shaping my opinion going into the finale about why I thought Kelsey would beat the brothers if it came down to the two of them. And we ended up being wrong about that. I think a big part of that was Kelsey didn't really say the things and take ownership of the moves that people wanted to see from her. But yeah, with this one, I really think it came down to, it's interesting. I've seen some people's takes that some people like Bruno and Netta sound a little bitter against Ika. I think I didn't really have the same read on it. I saw it as more that they felt a little like Ika was kind of kicking them when they were down, which, is their right to do so. We've seen juries say that plenty of times. I've echoed that earlier in this season where I felt like maybe Ika was a little too harsh to people on their way out. And, I think in large part, if people are going to start talking about the bitterness of a jury, more often than not, we have to look at why is the jury bitter. And I think in this case, more than anything, it comes down to kind of conflicts that were created that didn't necessarily need to be escalated to the degree that they were.
Yeah. It seemed like a lot of praise also for Kevin from the jury. Fair to say?
Well, of course. I mean, those are his friends in there. That's, something we all knew is that if you let Netta and Bruno and Cindy and all these people in the jury and then Kevin is in the end, I mean, you can't let him get there.
To me, I really feel like that the composure of this jury, I think that we pretty much know where the where the returning players are, but I really feel like that the newbies are really interesting swing votes here. Jordan, do you feel like that they're up in the air?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure there's a few of them that it's gonna be tough to say which way they go. I mean, maybe, depending on the combinations that we see at the end of the game. But I think for somebody like Jackie, I think she's somebody who's a bit of a wild card. She in the house, that's kind of the game she played. She kind of floated to the power each week she was in there. So she's somebody who's up in the air. I think Dre is somebody who's a little bit up in the air. Not sure where she's going to go with things. So yeah, I mean, I know Dylan, he hates Kevin now. He's very pro Karen. So I imagine he's going to go that way. So yeah, I think those two in particular, Jackie and Dre, I think they could really swing this thing.
Something that I've been thinking about for Kevin, if he gets to the final two, which he would have to do on the back of this Mike Holloway-esque run, I wonder if Kevin would see himself as a person who is in the position that he's in because of the run that he went on. Or do you think, Jordan, that he would paint himself as a strategist? This was his strategy to go through the game like this.
Yeah, I think he would definitely paint it as he's gone on a comp run. Kevin said a few times, like, oh man, I'm bad at this game, or like, oh, I screwed up royally.
But would he say that to the jury?
No, I don't think I don't know if he would say that overtly to the jury, but I think we can take from that on feeds with what he said, that he's going to take he's not going to say, oh, I played the best strategic game. I don't think he's going to make that argument. I think he's going to argue his strengths in this game, and that is the competition wins. I think he's going to talk, he's going to try to argue that, hey, maybe I didn't play the best strategic game, but I played better than Karen, assuming that is who he's sitting with in the end. Because I imagine if he goes on this comp run, that's who he's going to want to.
No one's going to take him. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I think that if that's the argument he makes, then I think he's got a really good case to win this game. I mean, I don't really know what leg Karen has to stand on at this point.
If I was a speechwriter for Kevin, and I'm obviously not, I really think that it would be important for him to sort of come across as humble in front of the jury and try to tell them, like we saw him in that clip with Bruno, like, I was really terrible at this game. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of things went wrong, but I was able to, win competitions when I had to. I studied everything I could. I knew that if I was in this spot, I would have a shot if I just kept hustling and studying. And I feel like that's the better way to go. I'm concerned, Alex, about him potentially taking too much ownership and really like coming off as if he starts to paint himself as a mastermind. And I'm worried about this because he has so much time to think about what he's going to say. I'm worried that he could potentially overthink this and get into like maybe too granular of things that he did strategically during the game.
I think, yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, but I think ultimately a big part of why I've always seen Kevin as probably a better player than he deserves, and why I've always kind of rated him somewhat highly, is his self-awareness is very, very high. You always seem to, when you watch him on feeds, you always seem to think that even if he doesn't understand where other people are and where the positioning is, he's very, very in tune with kind of knowing how to react to what he does know and knowing not to. He's very humble. I mean, I think that's always been something that's true about Kevin, and something that's endearing about Kevin is that he doesn't win HOH and immediately, go crazy. He doesn't ever. I mean, he's humble in victory and he's humble in defeat. And I think we've seen him up and down this season. Well, yeah, but that was a nightmare coming true before his weight eyes.
That was emotional. I was saying that, but he's not like stoic necessarily.
Right. Not always stoic on the level of like sociopathic, but I mean, this is an emotional game.
That's
so
not what I've seen.
I'm gonna fault him a little bit for that. But I just think, I mean, it's really a situation where he's more often than not very good at knowing where he actually is, and he's not someone that projects a front. Like, he's not going to put on a facade. That's just not, I think, who he is, and he knows enough about this game to know that that's not what a jury is looking for anyway.
Yeah. I'd love to also just touch on the video that Kevin put out, and I know you guys touched on this yesterday on the live feed roundtable. Again, great job with that show, Alex. That I mostly scrubbed through it, and could you just set up what Kevin was talking about in this video that he put out, or that his team put out?
Sure. Yeah. So it was interesting. I guess it was recorded first week of March. I think he was locked up in his apartment right before he was going to leave and go into sequester proper. And so he was basically kind of talking through his process, talking through everything he's been doing. And I really liked a lot of things he was saying. I mean, it sounded like he was getting, he'd been going to therapy. He'd been talking to someone, really framing his head in a good mental place, I think, which is really key to coming into these games. I always talk about how I think it's really clutch the way Jeremy Collins always says, like, I don't need to win this at the beginning of Cambodia. He's always saying that I'm a winner just getting here, that, I'm basically what Kevin says, I'm on a free roll in poker terms, that now that I'm here, like, if I got last, that would kind of suck. But the fact that I even got a second chance, like, no, who gets that? That's amazing. So to be in that mindset, to go into the house with that attitude, I think is what you need, especially on a second chance, because we see so many people, I think, Gary really putting pressure on himself to win, Netta really putting pressure on himself to win. And it's when you're in that mindset that you really have to prove something that often you aren't able to do so. So I think not only did Kevin do a good job in coming in grounded and not keeping his expectations too high. But also he talked about preparing for these competitions in a way that I don't think we've really ever heard before, where he really went back through all the kind of mental and question competitions and studied what kinds of things are asked, what kinds of numbers should be expected on some of these answers, what kinds of past instances in the house should I be making sure to keep in mind. So I think that combined with really active studying in the house this season has really served him well down the stretch.
And all of that, I think, was a smart idea. But Jordan, the thing that I question is why get this video out at this point in time? I don't know why, if he instructed this to go up at a certain point, isn't it almost thumbing your nose at the challenge making team and the people that are writing the questions to say, I know what the questions are going to be, and I'm studying it, and I'm ready for what you're about to throw at me?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned going into this final competition, because I mean, Kevin he's got this amazing hand, and he just showed production his hand. He's like, yeah, look, these are my cards. So yeah, it's certainly a little concerning. The one thing I will say is that for Big Brother Canada, they plan these seasons way far in advance. Aaron Brock talked about that with
but did they write the questions way far in advance? Because you can't write the questions that far in advance.
No,
what happened on day 70?
But that's fair. But there are only I mean, you know what? I mean, if you go back and look at all these, if you look back at the part 3 of the final HOH for Big Brother Canada 1, 2, 3, and 4, I don't know if there's how much the questions really overlap because every season is so different. So maybe there's a little bit of overlap, but I don't know how much they can really do there. I think Kevin has studied as much as he could for this point of the game. We've seen him, if you're watching feeds, I mean, this guy has been every day going through everything. He's got his sprinkles. He's done all this stuff. So, I mean, I don't really know how much, if they want to change the questions, how much that's really going to affect him at this point going against somebody, if he is indeed in the final 3. The other thing I will say is a lot of this part 3 of the final HOH as well, as much as you want to prep for it, as much as you can say like, yes, I've studied everything, I've tried so hard, a lot of it kind of is a crapshoot, even though they're not doing the, jury question answer style thing they do on Big Brother US.
Yeah. These
questions are still A or B. So if he's in the, part 3 of the final HOH against, Ika or Karen or Dimitri, and if Ika, Karen, or Dimitri don't know the answer, I mean, they can just guess. Like, they got a 50% shot of getting it right. So, I don't know. There's a little bit of a crapshoot element to it as well.
I will say that I believe the person running Kevin's social media while he's gone had said that this is something Kevin had asked to be released as pretty much right away after he was in the house, and that Big Brother Canada, I guess, had said that's not something we're okay with, and that I guess maybe they just now got clearance to do so. So given that Kevin had asked this to go out a while ago, they got it out as soon as they could.
Yeah. A couple other things in these jury scenarios that if it was a type of questions like the Big Brother US version, we're talking to the jury members, I wonder if that was this heads-up matchup that we're talking about of Kevin versus Dimitri. I wonder who would have the advantage there, Alex.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I think when it comes to most of these things down the stretch, I like Kevin. I mean, Kevin has been studying the things that you would study a lot harder, I think. But Dimitri's is just, I mean, he's set the record for most head of household wins. And I mean, he's right there in terms of, I guess he's got 7 competition wins total. I mean, I think Janelle on season 7 had 9 total, but then he's tied for second. I mean, he's right there. So it's sick what he's done.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get into questions. I also want to get into the live feed. So let's bring on the live feeds here, and then we can talk about a few other things, because I don't want to potentially spoil anything, and we can talk about what we know at this time. It's a little bit of sad news. I don't have the taboo buzzer here with me. It's still packed from Toronto, and it doesn't have batteries in it, so it was going to be too much time before the show. So we will just pretend that we have it. We'll take a break if you're listening to us in the archives, and if you're live, stay right there.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected. and that protective action should be taken.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Buzz.
All right. There you go. All right. So let's get into. Oh my God, I have so many stop notifications. I need to say stop to that. Okay. Alex, why don't you get us up to speed on what we know?
Okay, so we saw Demetrius puts Karen and Kevin on the block. Then they go off to crucial veto, most important veto of the season, and basically 3-on-1. Everyone against Kevin, and Kevin pulls it out yet again. Woo! Kevin has won a must-win competition when he absolutely had to. Brent, I believe, talked about at one point Kevin now needing to win 3 in a row to beat Demetrius, and 2 down, 1 to go. It now comes down to just one final competition that he needs to beat him in, and Kevin has won this game. So it really simplifies things going forward because obviously with Demetrius and Kevin both safe and Karen pretty much assumed lifeless in the game at this point. Aika was, in fact, the 4th player or the person who finished 4th in this game. She was evicted. And part 1 of the final HOH has taken place. Apparently, it was like a jungle type of theme. I don't think they do like the rope type thing that BBUS does, but I don't know. Maybe they did. I always, I think of like the vines, going back and forth against the wall as long as you can. I'm sure it was physical. Part 1 is almost always physical. Demetrius did, in fact, win part 1. So that sets up a part 2, which is usually some kind of mental physical combo where Kevin will face off against Karen.
Ass is mine, Kevin.
Yep, in a head-to-head battle for the century between bitter rivals.
Karen could, with one fell swoop, Jordan, she can take destiny in her own hands and knock Kevin Martin out of the game.
There's your shot.
A dream come true for Karen. Wow. What an amazing story that would be if Karen finally slayed the dragon. She
could put X-Lax in his slop or something and really just knock him out cramp up during the competition.
Oh, man. Poor Kevin. Poor Kevin. She just hates him so much. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah. So Aika out of the picture here. I'd love to eulogize Aika for a little bit because I really have been so impressed with her, both as a character and a player. And, we've talked a lot about her flaws this season in terms of, the temper. Did she need to be so petty at times? Did she always have the best approach? But Jordan, I came away from the season so impressed with Aika. I thought she was such a train wreck coming into this season. I thought she had no chance whatsoever to win the game. And then she came in, and I think that she was far and away the most dominant player here in this season that had so many great Big Brother players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really crazy. I think the thing with Aika going into this season is a lot of people wrote her off. I mean, fans and the players in there. They thought, Aika, we can get rid of her later. She can't win competitions. She doesn't have any strategy. But she really proved them wrong. She went in with a chip on her shoulder, and she really, really blew everyone away with her game this season. And I think Aika, I mean, you talked, Rob, how on that interview with Arissa and Aaron Brock, how Aika might be the greatest reality TV character of all time. I mean, I think that there is, an argument for that. I think the way
not necessarily what she's accomplished, but I'm telling you, if you had some sort of reality TV combine, that she is just off the charts in any of the measurables that you want to, of somebody you'd be looking for. If you could come up with the perfect reality TV person to put on any show, Aika Wong would be that person.
Yeah, and I think that, with how she played the game this season, I think that's the most remarkable thing is not only did she play a really great game, but she did it in such an explosive fashion. I mean, we're looking at Aika as she's like a unicorn. This is a player we're never going to see again. We're never going to see a game like that ever played again. It's kind of like Tony Vlachos on Survivor Cagayan. It's so incredible and over the top and nuts, and you just can't get enough watching it. So, mad props to Aika. She went in, proved a lot of people wrong, and now I think she's going to be remembered as one of the greatest players to ever play this game.
Alex,
I think another thing I was just going to say, I think another thing I took away from Aika's game is that, I think a lot of times we talk about needing to know the proper strategy and kind of in what order certain eliminations need to happen in order to advance yourself in this game, and how important it is to be strategically savvy. But I think, it's just it's a reminder of how important it is to build. And Kevin even talks about this in his video, I think, knowing this coming in from the last season, where he thought, being a good social player just meant, being nice and being likable and being, friendly and amiable to everybody. But in reality, what you need to do is what Ika really did this season, which is forge deep, meaningful, lasting relationships with people to the extent that they really want to go to bat for you, the way we saw her do with Dre, and by extension, bringing in William. And that gave her options that people like Netta and people like Bruno, who were really just, scheming, so to speak, and thinking about the game strategically and in terms of numbers, didn't really have at their disposal, because they hadn't really forged tight connections the way Ika had taken the time to do. So it really is, again, a reminder of how important it is to really, treat everybody as a person and not just as a piece in the game.
Yeah, Aiko was just emotionally invested the whole time. And I think that there were definitely players that were in the game on the returning vet side that I think made the other newbies feel like that they were just these chess pieces, where Aika really made people feel like that she was very invested in what they thought and they wanted to keep her happy. Even the queen stuff, Jordan, I think that she also got that to work in her favor, where people did not want to feel her wrath in the house. They were afraid to go against her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to go against Ika either. I mean, she is super fiery. And Nikki Graham said it tonight. She was like, "Oh, Ika, I'm so scared. I was scared of you when I first saw you. I thought you were going to be so scary." And yeah, the truth is that, Ika wears her heart on her sleeve. She'll tell you exactly what she's thinking, and she's not afraid to completely blow up on you and, call you out. And I do think that the queen stuff, for sure, it certainly helped her to an extent. And you're able to play that game when you have a guy like Dimitri there in your corner who's able to win you all those competitions.
Yeah, and of course, Dimitri being there, like that's it. Like like you just said, that is a huge presence. Like him being able to, shield her through much of the game is very, very helpful. But yeah, I mean, I think it really is a testament that, someone like Jackie, who she just burned so ruthlessly, was able to then come back and be willing to grovel to Ika and, work with Ika. Like Ika could then direct Jackie at a point. I think it really does speak to her ability, because, I think if you burn people to the extent that Ika did, most people would not be able to pull them back in. And yet Ika has this uncanny ability to do that. And I think it also speaks to the jury stuff. We can sit here and say that some of the stuff we heard from that jury vlog sounded bitter, but as far as I'm concerned, if Ika was in the final two, they still would have given her the win. I don't doubt it for a second. Like they may have said a couple things throw away here and there, but if it's Ika against Karen, I think they're definitely giving it to Ika.
Yeah.
And the only other scenario is Ika against Dimitri's, in which case, like, I think it's a real conversation that they're having. I don't think they're, dismissing Ika because they felt like she was mean. I don't think that's happening at all.
No, I actually think Dimitri, we saw what Cindy was saying to Dimitri that one episode when he went on the car ride with him, and I do think that is the sentiment of the jury. Netta said it as well, that Dimitri is Ika's lapdog. So I do think if it was Ika and Dimitri, that Ika would get the win there as well.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. I feel like that they were basically, they were a team that came together.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like that the sum of the parts was greater than the two of them individually. And I just feel like that they accomplished so much in this game, and they were so dominant. And then to both be on the block 2 times in a row. I mean, I really love that couple. And Dimitri's, I think, has been a very fun character. I didn't expect to like him as much as I did this season. Although looking back to like when I talked to them before they went into the house, he was very fun on that phone call. But I just thought he was going to be like this meathead idiot this season, and I really did like him as well. And I think that the part of me that is rooting for Dimitri also feels like that, it's still an opportunity for this to be that sort of joint win for Ika and Dimitri.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, like you said, they were a partnership. And I say Dimitri's was a shield for Ika because he won safety at key, opportune moments that protected both of them. But by the same extension, she was a social shield, I guess you could say, for him, in that I mean, we've seen, I think the best example to me is always going to be Big Brother 15 with Aaron, who, maybe four HOHs,
Yes,
and
4.
not one of them bought her any position in the game. I mean, we see what HOH means when you don't have true allies. It doesn't actually matter much. I mean, what does it really buy you? So I think without Ika, Dimitri's winning all these competitions. He may very well be in a position like Kevin, where he's just like winning to save himself week after week, instead of finding himself in a position where he had control of some votes and some say in the direction the game was taking.
Now that we move on past where Ike is in the game, the other really amazing thing about this season is that we've just had this mano-a-mano battle between Dimitri and Kevin, just trading off HOH after HOH and veto after veto. And it's really amazing. And to me, Jordan, this feels like either like a basketball game or a football game where whoever has the ball last is going to win.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. And I mean, what did they say tonight, Alex? It was like day 34 was the last time one of them didn't win an HOH competition. I mean, that is insane. So like half of the game, Dimitri or Kevin was HOH the entire time. I mean, that is just absolutely bonkers. But yeah, it's totally it's like a football game that's super high scoring. I mean, like with Peyton Manning Denver Broncos towards the end there, that he's just constantly touchdown after touchdown, just trading scores, and time's running out. One of them's going to win this last one, and that's going to determine the winner of this game. So
and nobody can play defense either.
No, nobody can play defense.
No, this was something
I
that
feel like it's the opposite, where they keep playing perfect defense on each other, where winning the veto is your defense. So you're just like, nope, denied, and then the other one's denying. It's like a shutout as far as so it can go either way.
It's extra innings. So now, is there any possibility that, let's say Kevin wins the second part of the HOH, and then it looks like, okay, well, now it's going to be Dimitri versus Karen. Could Karen just walk out of the house? Is that a possibility, Alex? That I know that it would be, walking away from potentially $20,000. But if there's anybody that we've heard this season, I don't care about money. Money is not important to me. There are things in life that are more important to me than money, like seeing Kevin Martin lose this game. Is there a 1% chance that could happen?
It is a question I've been asked a few times this weekend, and I've mulled it over because I feel like if you're asked it more than once, it warrants a little thought. But I just don't feel like production would allow her to do that at this point in the game, especially.
She says, "I'm leaving."
Yeah, they don't have. She doesn't have a legitimate reason. Like, if there was an emergency, that's one thing. But I think they would be like, Karen, you're out in a couple days. Like, no,
Kevin Martin.
No, it's not, Karen.
Yeah,
that's not an emergency. Stay put. Like, you know what I mean? I think they would bring in whoever they had to bring in to talk her down, just get through, like, whatever. We'll bring in your husband. Feeds her off. They can do whatever they want. We'll bring in your husband and kids if we have to. Like, we're going to do whatever it takes to keep you in that house a few more games so you don't, like, blow the integrity of what we're trying to do here for the last 80 days.
Jordan, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I really see no scenario in which this happens. I mean, part of it, I will say that I was nervous there was a chance that she was going to do this after Kevin won the most recent veto, because she had time to think about it. It's not like, okay, bam, the comp's over, and now someone's voting you out, and now we're voting for the winner of this game, and it's finale, and everyone's all dolled up, and all this stuff is going on, and it's a live TV event. No, that's not what was happening at the Final Four veto. So I think if she was going to do it, that was the time in which she should have done it. Now, finale night is such a whirlwind. There's no time. So much stuff is happening. It's so crazy. So I just don't think Karen has the time to think and realize, oh yeah, I have to walk out. The way she would do it would be right now, but she's not going to do that. Well, Dimitri is moving on to the final part 2 of the part 3 of the final HOH, because she thinks, hey, there's a chance Dimitri's going to win this competition and he's going to take me and I get 20 grand. Why would I let that Kevin Martin have 20 grand when I should be getting
at this point? They're starting at this point.
Yeah.
But Alex, does Karen feel like that does she have a shot to beat Kevin in the finals in her mind?
That I don't know. We've really never seen anything definitively regarding that. I can't imagine she does. She knows he has friends in there. I've got to think that's, another piece that's fueling her distaste for him, is that, and Ika's talked about it too. It's like, if you beat me, it's because they're bitter and they're all your friends. And like, that's been something that's been circulating in the house when it's been everyone against Kevin. So I think Karen, and I think that's kind of fueling her desire to see Dimitri's and Ika succeed now too, is that I think she's aware she's playing for second. I think she would be very unhappy losing to Kevin.
I do think it would be very interesting. And I firmly believe that Kevin will win this final 3 HOH, setting up the Karen-Kevin final 2 that I talked about. I knew it. I said week 5, I said no one believed me. No one believed me that Karen and Kevin could make it to the final 2. People in the chat room said that, what are you talking about? Why are we wasting our time? I called it. No, but I wonder, could there be potentially like a Sandra and Russell vibe to this final 2 where Kevin is standing there and Kevin gets, is going to get some tough questions from this jury. And, Kevin, why did you lie to me about this? Why were you dishonest about this? There will be some bitter jurors, and there will be Karen who will have the ability. I've never told a lie in this game. I've been truthful the whole time. I told you, get rid of that snake. He's going to do this. No one listened to me. No one believed me the whole season. I said from day one, and if you listened to me, you'd be sitting here instead of me. Jordan, could that potentially swing this jury?
I mean, well, let's think about it, right? I mean, so if we lay out the votes, if that's the case, so who could Karen get? Dylan. I think she has Dylan locked up no matter what, regardless of what she says. So there's one.
Dilly boy.
Okay, so there's Dilly. He's one vote. Maybe, and I could definitely see this. I could definitely see Ika going into the jury house and having the jury house be so pro Kevin that it just annoys the crap out of her. So she wants to vote for Karen out of spite. And you know what? I don't blame her, because
here's the problem here, that if the Jackie Ika thing, if Ika is the strongest pro Karen voice, then I feel like that pushes Jackie to Kevin.
That's true. Then that's definitely something to think about. But I mean, who knows? I mean, Ika won Jackie over in the house that one week. She's only got a couple days in there, so it's not like there's going to be enough time where maybe she's got enough time where it's so short that she can just win over Jackie for a little bit and get her to vote her way. So who knows? But potentially there's Ika. Potentially there's Dimitri if he's pissed as well. That's 3 right there.
I don't think he'll be pissed. I think he would want to vote for. I could see Ika voting for Karen, but
I would agree with you. I'm just saying there's a chance.
Based on that segment we saw tonight where they talked about how they've been trading, it seems like there's no animosity between
game respect game.
They respect each other. Absolutely. So so I think, I mean, if we lay it all out like that,
honor, integrity, warriors to the end.
I agree with you. I don't think there's a Sandra Russell scenario because Kevin is not Russell. Okay, he's not. He's Mike Holloway, and when Mike Holloway got to the end, he won the game. And you know what? Karen is
L's and vetoes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I just won all the time. You gotta give it up. What else can you do? Yeah. No, I think it really is. I thought it was pretty telling. I thought actually the most illuminating thing from that jury segment vlog that we saw was that it really seemed like the moment where they're supposed to talk about like Karen as a hypothetical winner, it seemed like they were really straining for arguments. And then if you notice, like if you go back and watch it, Jackie starts to say something about like Karen, maybe something, and Cindy in the very corner of the screen just bursts out laughing. And I watched it closely, and like you can definitely tell like Cindy is someone that I think like had more respect for Karen than some in that house. Yeah. And the fact that Cindy can't even keep a straight face when they're starting to talk about reasons Karen might win the game. I mean, personally, I put a lot of stake in that.
Yeah, I think Cindy is one of those. I really like that point, Alex. I think Cindy is one of those votes that Karen needed to have in order to win, and she's just not going to have it at this point.
Yeah. Karen might have burned a couple too many people with her goodbye messages.
Yeah, well, especially Cindy.
She was mean to Cindy.
She was mean to Cindy. She said to Cindy, she was like, "You talked about yourself all the time. Bye bye." And it's like, you know what, Karen? Like, based on what I've seen on feeds, I don't know if maybe you should look in the mirror a little bit yourself. I don't know. I'm just saying. So
I think it's easy to underestimate that. That's like the last lingering memory someone's gonna have you while they're stewing in a house thinking about how they lost for weeks. Like that is something that I think is very important. Like
it's
all
so
future
important.
players should remember.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so important.
All right. Let's just real quick. Alex, the winner of this season is
Kevin.
Jordan, Kevin.
Kevin's winning this game, baby. It's destiny.
Yeah, I really think I don't see a way that Dimitri's is gonna be able to get around him on that final 3 HOH, especially if it comes down to questions. Unless the only thing that I can come up with where if they say, okay, Kevin Martin, you think you're so smart, you think you know all the answers to the questions. How about some questions we've never had before? And then Kevin panics, like, wait, that's not a question they've asked before. Oh no, that wasn't on my crib sheet.
I will say, if the questions are not game based, if they are changed so that it is BBUS style of the jury answers, I think Dimitri wins in that scenario.
Yeah, I think that Dimitri might be the person that knows maybe more about what did Dre say? What did Jackie say? I think that there is a scenario where Dimitri's relationship, and Kevin, other than William, and Bruno, who was he talking to all this time?
Yeah, Cindy, Netta, but other than that, fair. So I think Dem would have that there.
Interesting. All right. So I want to get into the questions, but I also want to touch on, Jordan, you wrote a very nice piece today that you posted about some of the things going through your mind as you are getting ready to walk away from the RHAP podcast game. Very sad news for most of us here. Maybe like one person in the chat room is happy. I'm going to ban that person.
It's okay.
Jordan, can you talk about that a little bit and what made you want to write this piece?
Yeah, I mean, I
we'll link to it in the show notes also.
Yeah. So for those of you who are behind on BB Can coverage or just tuning into this because you found out I was retiring, I announced about a month ago that this would be my last season covering Big Brother Canada. And I had a lot of people who were like, why JP, why would you do this, all this stuff? And I just felt like I owed it, to all you guys and to tell you like, hey, this is the real reason why I'm leaving. And I couldn't really, explain it in a nice little package on a podcast. So I figured I'd rather, write an essay about it. And that's what I did. So basically, if you want to check that out, I mean, you can check it out. But the reasoning behind why I'm leaving is, there's a lot of reasons, to be honest. Part of it is that, the Big Brother community is super negative. I think that's tough. And that's just annoying. I just don't like that. It's not something where, it eats away at me every day. And it's something where I'm like, oh my God, so-and-so said this about me. I can't believe it. It's not that. It's just that, I don't really have time right now with where I'm at in my life. I've made this, career path change. I'm working towards a career in teaching. I'm working a part-time job. I'm, going to school full-time. I've got I've got lots of homework. I've got to get good grades. I volunteer, a couple times a week as well. So with all that going on, I've just, I started asking myself, hey, is this something that, is this really worth it for me? Is this something that I want to be dedicating so much of my time and energy to when I don't have a lot of time or energy? And, I started thinking about that. I thought about, the quality of the show. I just don't like Big Brother as much as I used to be honest. And I think part of that is that the show just isn't, it isn't as good as it used to be on one hand. And part of it is that, I made this analogy is that, I've just had too much Big Brother the past 2 years. It would be like, if you really like ice cream and somebody said, hey, you can eat ice cream every single day whenever you want. And at first you'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. But then, when you have to eat ice cream every single day for every meal and you're talking about ice cream all the time and you live in an ice cream factory, you're going to get tired of eating ice cream at a certain point. So I think that's really what it comes down to.
Does that make me like Gina Marie, just able to like self-serve machine, just
throwing it back?
A mass amount?
Yes. Yeah, Rob, you're definitely the Gina Marie of
no
the
gag
reflex
game. For me. Yeah.
So yes, that's, oh my God, Rob, I love you. This is why I love you. But yeah, it was a tough decision. It was hard because this is, has been a dream of mine, and I've talked about it on the blog. I've been an RHAP fan and listener for 6 years now. Rob, I found you randomly before Survivor South Pacific, when you wrote the immunity blog on CBS.com. And, I've been following your stuff for so long, and you helped give me you gave me a home for, watching these shows and to give me a place to where I could feel like I could talk about this and feel like I had, that I wasn't, some loser nerd for liking these shows, because in my real life, nobody watched Survivor. Nobody watched Big Brother. So, you gave me that opportunity, and, you fueled my passion for these shows, and you fuel my passion to get on Big Brother Canada and to have my own podcast. And, you helped me live out a dream of mine, and two dreams of mine, really. So I just want to thank you so much. It's really been, it's been a fun ride. And I just want to thank all the listeners as well. It's, I really couldn't have done it without all your support, and it really means the world. So thank you.
Well, over these last couple of years that I've gotten to work with you, you've done such an incredible job. And really, this at the time that we started podcasting, the RHAP-ups was just starting up. I think that we had done. I think we had started the Bachelor podcast and maybe the Challenge podcast at that time. And really, because of a lot of the work that you did, we really have turned the RHAP-ups into something where we're covering so many different shows, and that everybody that I believe is really appreciative of the work you did. And Jordan, I'm so mad at the people that were mean to you on social media. All those egg people. I've been long standing. I've got issues with these egg people. And I'm very, very upset with them because I've been so proud of the work that you've done. And, I hate to, lose you. This is a hard thing for me to talk about because, if I'd love for you to stay, but I also, want you to do what's right for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. I mean, it's just, kind of where where I'm at in my life. And sometimes in life, you in order to move on to another chapter, you've got to close the last one. So that's just something I felt like I had to do. And and you know what, it's not a lot of it though, people are saying, in the chat and elsewhere, I'm being a baby and all this stuff. And it's like, what, maybe, sure. But I don't think it's, it's okay. It's fine. It's whatever, but it's not, again, I want to reiterate, it's not all the negativity. And this is not me saying, oh, I needed to be loved more and all this other stuff. No, it's just that, I think a lot of this was when I started, I was in a really tough spot. First off, I mean, it just, when I was a listener, getting into being a fan, I think this was, listening to you helped me get through some really hard times. But also too, when I got off the show, being on Big Brother, going out the way I did, it sucked. It was bad. It was horrible for me, especially because I put such high expectations on myself to do well. And, after the show, I was trying to process that and deal with that. I was also dealing with, there was, half of my extended family talking to me. They just cut me out of their lives. So that was, that was
Big Brother.
So that was hard to deal with. I had also too, I had a really,
well, why, what happened that
I just, because they just didn't approve of me being on the show. I mean, to be honest, I haven't really talked to any of them, so I don't really know. So that was hard for me. It was also hard for me as well. I had a close group of friends in high school that was, we had a really good friend group, and they kind of just shoved me to the side as well after the show and didn't really want anything to do with me. So I think this podcast and you giving me this opportunity, it really helped me get through that time in my life, and having the listeners and having this podcast to come to and having this community behind me, it meant the world to me, and it meant so much to me to be able to get through those hard times and to build myself back up again and get into a good spot. And now I'm in a really good spot. I'm in a great spot. I made it through the other side. I'm doing so great. And I couldn't have done it without you, but now I'm at a point where, it's time to say goodbye because I'm okay. I don't need this anymore. Unfortunately, I'm in a spot where I've got people that I know who love me. I'm feeling great with where I'm going in my life. A lot of the questions about, what I'm going to do and stuff have been answered. So, that's a big reason why I'm saying goodbye as well, is just with everything else that I have going on, I just don't have the time. So for people saying, you can't handle the negativity, you know what? Yeah. If it was, it's annoying, sure, but that's not the whole reason behind it. So I just wanted to explain that as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for getting into all of that. I definitely knew most of that, but there's definitely even things that I'm surprised to hear, and happy to hear that, things are going so well now. It's like, we brought you to the island, and now you're ready to leave, ready to escape. Alex,
Yes.
Alex, you're not going to leave me though, right?
No, I'm not going anywhere. But on behalf of Brent and Taryn and Melissa, I mean, it really has been a pleasure working with you, Jordan. We've been all very happy to be along for the ride on the SS Parhar these last couple of years. It's been a good time. It's been really great, man. Without you, I don't know that podcasting would have been what it's been for me. So you've had a really big impact on all of us, and you're definitely gonna be missed, man. Yeah, and if I ever do like win the lottery or something, I'm definitely count on me to pull the move from like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm gonna show up at all these eggs doors, and then they'll see it. It's gonna get real. It's gonna get real.
Alex, dude, thank you so much. I love you, man. I mean, that really means a lot. And even though Sarah Hanlon doesn't love you, I love you, Alex,
Yes.
and I want you to know that. Okay, from the bottom of my heart. You're just the man, buddy. So I love you, and I love all the LFC as well, and they know that.
Back at you, brother.
And just to speak to like the negativity in the Big Brother world, I mean, that certainly does exist. I don't want to be sort of like have a head in the sand, but I also feel like that there is a lot of positivity as well that's out there, and I do always try to be able to cultivate that. And I think that we do a pretty good job in this community. Certainly,
absolutely.
There's so many people from the patrons that are really enjoy talking about this show. I do think that Big Brother, especially as you alluded to, Jordan, I think it has become very partisan. And I think that the problem with that, and I know that you've certainly experienced it, is that I think that with the partisanship that a lot of the alumni, put out there, I'm rooting for this person, I'm rooting for this person. And I think that the audience, or a lot of the people that are super in love with their favorites, look at that as you are trying to go against the person that I care about so much. And I do think that that's where we get into a lot of the mix-ups. And I wonder if there was less fan involvement, sort of like we have care packages and OTT, and there's so much fan voting. I wonder if that might actually help things in the world of Big Brother, where we don't have that quite as much, I think, in the Survivor community. Not to say that that's perfect, but I feel like that all of the vote for this ends up making everything a lot more contentious on social media.
Yeah, I think that's totally the case. I think in OTT, we saw that, right? I think that, people, a lot of people were anti-Jason specifically for many reasons, but I think specifically because some of the alumni were pushing him so hard and supporting Jason, and people didn't like being told, hey, vote this way. Because, hey, that's human nature. People don't like being told what to do. I do think, though, yeah, it's tough. And especially for me, too, doing the podcast, it's hard. Being an alum, a lot of what I say gets misconstrued, and I think I don't want to reflect poorly on, RHAP, but, I think for me, yeah, have I been supporting Kevin this whole season? Yeah. Have I been wanting him to win? Yeah. Does that mean that Kevin should win just because I want him to win? No, absolutely not. Does that mean you should root for Kevin because I root for Kevin? No, absolutely not. And I think maybe, that's something that gets lost in translation here, is that I think there's a difference between rooting for someone and hoping someone does well and telling people, hey, you have to root for this person or else you're dumb or whatever. No, like, you know what? If people want to root for other people, that's totally fine. I've been hard on Karen this season, but if people want to like Karen, I got no problem with that. That's totally fine. So anyway, yeah, it's really, the Big Brother community is it's a really wild place.
Yeah, it's certainly crazy. And there's so many of the alumni that have such big fan bases and following. And then when they put thoughts out there on social media, I think then a lot of times it can get interpreted as sort of like a call to action against the people that they don't like, or against the people that they're rooting for. So it can be very, very tricky and dicey out there. Jordan, I still have some questions. I know that you were.
Yeah.
You said such amazing things that it feels like the end of the podcast, but I still have some questions to get through. But I wanted to do it before the questions in case people had anything they wanted to say to you also, that we could do that as we get to the questions. So let's go ahead and get to Dylan James, who says, if Dimitri didn't nominate Kevin this week, could that have potentially thrown him off guard enough to affect the veto? How about Alex?
No.
Unlikely. Yeah. Where's my Taylor sounds here?
Unlikely.
Okay. Jordan Chong says, Jordan, if you were Kevin and you had to vote off a jury member, who would it be?
Oh, wow.
If you had to Parhar somebody.
If I had to Parhar somebody, I mean, obviously it would be Karen, but Karen is going to probably be in the final two with Kevin if he's there. Ooh, that's hard. I mean,
I feel like this is an unfairly loaded question for Jordan.
Yeah, it is.
It's an answer everyone expects him to give, but if he gives it, then everyone's gonna like be mean about it. So
no,
you're implying that say vote Cindy off the jury?
I would not
well,
vote
it just
Cindy
seems like the easy answer, right?
No,
that everyone would be like,
Cindy's
oh,
a vote for Kevin. Cindy's a vote for Kevin. No, I think the vote. I think if I was Kevin and I was in that spot, I mean, I don't know how aware he is of how mad Dylan is, but if he is, I would say Dylan. If not, if he's kind of, because I honestly don't think Kevin realizes how angry Dylan was. I think I would probably vote out Dre just because her vote is so kind of up in the air and it's kind of hard to say which way she would go.
I forgot how scary Dylan was in that fight with Dallas, man. He
was mad.
That's a mean figure when he wants. That guy.
He was mad.
Yeah.
He was mad.
I forgot Dallas was on the show.
Poor Dally boy.
Poor Dally boy.
Good
Okay.
dude.
All right. Trevor says, is there any validity to the argument that Karen has played the best game since she didn't have to rely on comps? As much as it pains me to say this, as somebody who grew up or came into their own watching these shows, bowing at the altar of Dr. Will, I think that's over. I think that, Jordan, would you agree with this statement? Is this too hot of a take? I think that I'm not going to win any competitions. I think that is a outdated strategy that does not play anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a strategy if you are Dr. Will Kirby. If you are not Dr. Will Kirby,
I don't know if you can do it anymore.
Yeah, if you're
pretty well with it.
Yeah, but Derek won some HOHs,
he
right?
Won HOHs, yeah.
They have 3 HOHs.
He let Cody and Frankie win a lot more than he did, though.
Yeah, that's fair. But still, I think there's a place for throwing competitions, but going like completely like, yes, I'm winning no comps. I think that it's so hard to win a game now, win the game these days with that. It's so Big Brother these days is so built around, having that resume, having those comps to be like, look, this is what I did, and this is why I deserve to win this game. So, yeah, I do think that we are now – Big Brother is in an era where, that's the competitions matter more than they ever have.
I definitely agree the competitions matter more. I definitely get what you're saying. Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm not ready to draw a line in the sand just yet. I'm ready to see if somebody comes along with just a dominant will level social game. I'm ready to see how that plays out.
And I'll qualify that in Big Brother Canada in terms of that, because when you take a look at the people that have won this game, when you look at all the competitions Jillian won and all the competitions that John won, Sarah won competitions, all the competitions the Pax brothers, that you can't say. The only thing you can say about Pax brothers, they win a lot of, they won so many competitions, and then whoever is going to win out of Dimitri or Kevin, then you look at that again. I think that is the underlying factor. I mentioned this with Arissa and Aaron the other day, that the comp wins, I think, are sort of this unifying theory of all these seasons.
Yeah, well, it's definitely true that, there hasn't been a ton of variance this season, but there often is. I mean, we often talk about there being a lot of variance with the twists or shockwaves or whatever, and the one way to protect yourself from variance is to win safety. So, I mean, that is a foolproof method, if nothing else, for sure.
Okay. Jennifer wants to say, for the last JP podcast, can Jordan give Alex one last bully moment? The Redditors need their content. Can you bully Alex one more time? Or Jordan, have you changed your platform in light of all of the abuse that you have been on the receiving end on social media? Will you now be changing your platform to an anti-bullying platform?
Oh, of course. Come on. There's no place in the world for bullies, especially bullying Alex Kidwell. I mean, dude, Alex, I was never bullying you. I made fun of you a couple times, but I don't know. It's just two buddies just making fun of you.
No, yeah, I think I'd like to think at least most people are in on the joke here, but right. In case you're not, I mean, right. The game that we would play for the last 2 years is that Jordan would say a thing that may or may not be true about me, but it's probably more than I want you all to know. And then I would freak out and pretend that I wanted to cancel the podcast and Jordan's a jerk and all this stuff. But no, we're close. It's fine. It's,
the whole
shtick is revealed.
That was all fake.
I will say, I do have one thing I can roast Alex on. Okay, here it is. So here it is, Alex.
Okay.
You ready? You have no idea what this is going to be, but this was funny.
No.
At the last podcast house we had in New York, so we were one morning, I don't know how this came up. One morning, everybody was getting ready to go out, and Alex went into the bathroom, and he was going to brush his teeth, but then he was like, "Oh no, I can't use this toothpaste. I have to go get mine." And I was like, "Oh, why can't you use this toothpaste?" And he was like, "Well, I have to use children's toothpaste because the regular toothpaste is too spicy for me."
What do you mean too spicy?
I don't know. He said it's too hot for his mouth. He can't handle it. So I just, I love.
Are you buying like cinnamon toothpaste?
I don't know what he's buying.
Just any of the mints, Rob. They're just too overwhelmingly mint. I can't deal. I need some of that Act bubblegum. It's nice and forgiving. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, Alex, I loved you so much before that, but that just made me love you even more. I mean, I was like, oh my God, as if I couldn't love you more. I mean, you use children's toothpaste.
Yeah. I'll let you use Dominic's toothpaste.
Is it that Tom's of Maine strawberry?
No. Too spicy. Too spicy toothpaste. Okay. Kirsten, am I crazy, or was this I remember that time episode more fun than previous clip shows? Kirsten might just still be riding the high of the Toronto trip.
Yeah, Kirsten's riding the high of Toronto.
Toothpaste is less spicy.
Yeah, she hasn't even got her voice back yet. I don't know that she's in the proper place to assassinate. She was giving voiceless tours to elementary school kids all day today. She told me that's a pretty great. I wish I could have seen that.
Oh man, that's so funny.
John Heddle says, who do you think that the jury deliberation host will be? John, Godfrey. Now I get this confused between what they've done in BBUS and has it always been Dr. Will for BBUS?
Yes. Not always.
Yes, has it? Yeah, it's always been Dr. Will.
Okay,
and then Dr. Will.
And then
Canada changes.
Well, so who have they had for Canada?
It was Ian, right? First time.
Yeah, so it was Dan Giesling in Big Brother Canada 2. It was Ian Terry in Big Brother Canada 3. It was John Party in Big Brother Canada 4. And my prediction is it's going to be Tim Dormer for Big Brother Canada 5.
What tipped it off? Is it the shaggy haired dude sitting next to Nikki Graham in our hotel room bed in her latest picture?
I knew Tim was in Toronto, so yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Here's the thing, Rob. You mentioned non-winner, but he did win Big Brother Australia, so he has won a Big Brother season before. So that's probably what they're going for. Because who else do you get? I mean, the people I feel like the people on the jury that are vets, I think for them, they're all like, well, if we have John here, like we've played the game more times than John, so do we really want to listen to what he has to say? Whereas Tim's played twice already, right? So I feel like Tim makes sense.
I guess so. All right. Stephanie says, what are your thoughts on the jury videos from today? We touched on that earlier in terms of what the jury is thinking, but I don't know how much, as Alex was pointing out, can we really read into that based on how it went last season?
Certainly screwed me up last season.
The Melissa Bot said all the fourth place finishers are female. Coincidence or curse? Got to be a curse, right?
No, it's a coincidence. Well, it's a coincidence. It's a curse that they're all Brent's favorite players.
Yes. Is it the Brent curse?
Brent curse.
The Cass, Ika, Tala, Brittany, Brent's favorite queen of the season curse. Yeah, that's the spot.
The Brent queen curse. Okay, we'll see. Does it hold for US or no?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right. So the Brent Queen curse. So we'll see what happens next summer or next spring. Stacked in Florida wants to say, will Jordan do one more podcast if Karen beats Kevin in BB Can 5 Final 2 with her speech? Will you put that out there, Jordan?
No. I'm not doing it. This is it. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm not doing another podcast. Appreciate it. It's a funny joke, but no, I won't. I will eat my. I'll eat my Levi's or something. I'll do that, but I won't.
Spicy toothpaste if Karen beats Kevin.
I will eat
spiciest toothpaste on the market.
If Alex Kidwell sends me the spiciest toothpaste he can find, I will take a video of myself eating the toothpaste out
like
of the
Gina
tube,
Marie,
like Gina Marie, and I will post it on YouTube if Karen beats Kevin in the final 2.
I'll have poison control on speed dial.
Jordan, I liked you in season 3. I really did. But then when I heard about your bet, then I knew you weren't the same guy.
That's funny because Karen actually said on the feed, she was like, "Oh, I was so glad when JP got voted out on BB 3." So she didn't even like me on my season, Rob. So that doesn't even work.
I didn't even like you. Were the only person I didn't like in their first season. And
there you go. That's
I
more accurate.
really don't like you.
Hey, and you know what? In fairness, hey, I probably wouldn't have been cheering for me either, so it's okay. It was a little annoying. It was a little annoying.
You have to be self-deprecating even on this podcast.
Yeah, it's in my blood, Rob. I have to be.
Okay. Tauda says Karen Singville knew that Kevin Robert Martin was a threat. No one listened to her. What's her best play to try to get votes? I think that might be. I really think that this is if I was working with Karen, I think that you want to really just drill down on. I was honest the whole time. I never lied to you. I was straight up with you. Kevin never cared about you. He lied every step of the way. He's only here because he won the competitions. That's it. I was always straight up with you.
You know what else occurs to me? We learned in that video that Kevin put out that he has been, he like weaned himself onto some sleeping pills to go into the house, knowing that the fluorescents are so powerful that he's going to need to have sleeping pills in there. If Karen starts grinding them up into some food, now Kevin might just sleep through the finale. I think that's a play.
2 things I will say. One, I don't think that the tactic will work for Karen just because one of the biggest things I think with the jury is
poison tactic or the
jury first the jury tactic. The jury tactic I don't think is going to work because respect is such a huge thing in this game. And clearly I think I haven't seen the video, but based on what you guys are saying, doesn't sound like Karen really has a lot of that respect from the jury. And as we've seen on Big Brother seasons before, there's just not enough time for Karen to argue her case and flip votes at that finale. When you go, for me, going into that finale, I knew who I was voting for, and it wasn't changing pretty much no matter what happened. Unless like the craziest thing ever happened, I would have considered changing my vote. But
voted out of the jury.
Right, like getting voted out of the jury. But other than that, I was pretty set on who I was going to vote for, and that was the same for everyone else because you just don't have a lot of time to change your mind in an hour. I'm sorry you don't, or especially after like a 2-minute speech.
I don't think it's like final tribal council on Survivor. I don't think
it's not. If it was old school BB, then maybe. And then in terms of the poisoning Kevin thing, they took away his sleeping pills, I think, after like week 2, and you also get your pills directly in the DR. So Karen's poison strategy, the poison pill. Be allowed to
that. I mean, I feel like that you should not be allowed to have sleeping pills in the Big Brother house.
Yeah, that's like being on PEDs. So yeah, I'm with you.
I feel like that's really not fair, especially like when they make a have-not room as uncomfortable as possible. I think that's cheating.
So I think BB made the right call. I love Kevin, but I think they made the right call in taking those away.
Okay. All right. Let's do a couple more questions here with Jordan. Mr. Robot Taryn, will Bruno over campaign for Kevin and turn off potential votes like he did for Godfrey? Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness. Jordan, is that true? Did Bruno over
so this is
Godfrey?
So this is something that has been talked about on the podcast before, and something that Brent has really harped on and talked about. Oh, Bruno is going to screw up the jury because he did it on BB Can 3. Because I mentioned once in passing that Bruno was campaigning hard for Godfrey to win, and for some people in the jury, we were like, Bruno would say, "Oh, Godfrey deserves to win the game," and I would say, "Okay, Bruno, why does Godfrey deserve to win?" And he'd just be like, "Oh, Godfrey's game's sick. You don't even know, bud." And I'd say, "Yeah, I don't even know, so I'm not going to vote for Godfrey." And that was really pretty much it. It wasn't so over the top, but Bruno was definitely campaigning a little bit. I don't think it's so much that it's going to turn people off of voting for Kevin. Maybe one person like Ika, if she is, upset about the situation, I could see it, but I don't think it's a situation where, Bruno's going to turn the whole jury against Kevin because he's trying to get votes for him. I think that's being a little hyperbolic, to be honest with you. So no, I don't see that happening.
Okay. Love Tour Alex says, are Alex and Taryn officially persona non grata in Canada, according to Sarah Hanlon? I don't know what these guys did, Jordan, to piss off Sarah Hanlon.
Well, I heard this.
Such a nice time with Sarah Hanlon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone else has a really nice time with Sandra Diaz Twine, Rob, but somehow.
Well, Alex, let's just set this up. So Sarah Hanlon was getting mad at Taryn, right, Alex? And then you came in and you said, to be fair, and I think Sarah thought you were going to defend Taryn, but actually you were going to defend her.
Right.
And then she said, to be fair, I'm going to walk away. So bye.
I'm leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Boy, bye.
There you go, Alex. I'm sorry, man.
Bye.
That sucks. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's
That's a
tough.
bummer.
That's a bummer.
What can you do?
There's yes.
You can't win them all. I overestimated my charm is really what it comes down to. I take it on myself.
But you know what? It's Sarah Hanlon. Sarah Hanlon. I love you. But how can you not love children's toothpaste eating Alex Kidwell? I'm sorry. How could you not love Alex Kidwell? And this goes for everybody who has not met Alex in person. Alex is the funniest, like nicest, most down to earth dude. I'm sorry. How can you not like Alex?
This is your show.
But
it's your show.
I'm just saying, Alex is great.
In fairness to Sarah Hanlon, to be fair, no, I'm a big Sarah fan. She came out on Wednesday night to see us. She didn't have to do that, and I really appreciate it. We had a lovely time.
Yeah, I think Alex, you had to have said something to make her mad. I don't know.
I mean, I think I just started the sentence the worst way I could have possibly said. I think I just really, I really stuck my foot in my mouth on that one.
Yeah, you should have just been like, "Hello, I'm Alex Kidwell. Please.
You're the greatest."
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Poor Kidwell.
Jordan, what else is there to say?
I don't think there's anything, Rob. I think everything's been said. I just want to thank you so much, for giving me this opportunity, let me live out a dream, and being so good to me these past 2 years. I know I haven't been the easiest to work with at all times, but you've been there for me since day one. You've been in my corner. You've stood up for me when you didn't have to, and it really means.
Wait till I get a hold of these egg people.
So thank you, Rob. It really means a lot. So thank you to everybody in Rob is a Planet, the people that, whether you've been, a listener of Happy Hour from, for 2 weeks or for 2 years, from the bottom of my heart, it really means a lot. And if you haven't checked out that blog, I recommend that you check it out just because it's hard for me on live and a podcast off the cuff to really say everything that I truly feel. And I feel like that kind of sums things up pretty nicely. So if you want to check that out, you can follow me on Twitter at Jordan Parhar. The blog is pinned to the top of my profile. So there you go.
It's been a absolute pleasure getting to work with you over these last couple of years. That I, you and I, as you detailed in the blog, had talked before you went on to go play Big Brother. But it was when I was, would see on those live feeds, that you were basically hosting podcasts on the live feeds with the people in that Big Brother Canada 3 house, and then also doing the commercials that we have on the podcast in the fake podcast that you were doing on the live feeds. I said, okay, I think I've got an idea here. Let's try something. And really, we hadn't ever tried to do something that was, not necessarily branded to a show before. We hadn't had a host that we wanted to branch out and give a show to, but I knew that you were the right guy for that. And it really I can't say enough about the work that you've done, and your professionalism has gone well beyond your years.
Thank you, Rob. It really means a lot. I never, ever could have expected all of this has happened, that I'd be on this podcast with you, on that day 6 years ago when I found the podcast. So thanks for taking a shot at me and for letting me do my thing. It really means a lot. So thank you.
Okay. Alex, are you okay? Are you prepared to be inundated with toothpaste comments?
If that's Jordan's lasting legacy, if that's how you wanted to send it out, then I'm okay with it, man. That's if you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm so happy, Alex. So let's be happy together.
Good. All right.
Okay. All right. We need a hashtag, Jordan. One final hashtag with you here on RHAP. What are you thinking?
Well, I've seen lots of people in the chat are saying either children's toothpaste or spicy toothpaste. So I think I'm good with either one of those. Alex, I'll let you choose. What do you prefer to be known for?
I've always said the toothpaste too spicy line because I feel like it sounds funnier to say spicy. So let's go with that.
Okay.
Too spicy. Too spicy on the toothpaste.
Like too minty makes sense, but too spicy just sounds funnier.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Jordan, what are you looking forward to going up to the finale?
I'm just going there. It's funny,
What's your
ironic.
week look like?
So I'm going to go to the finale. I get in on the Thursday. Going to go to I'm not going to be able to actually attend the finale, I don't believe, because the rules and stuff behind that. But as soon as Kevin gets out, following his, we're going to go to a viewing party that night, watch the finale, with a bunch of house guests, with a bunch of fans, and then on the Friday, hopefully, I'll have some chance to see Kevin and greet him, and win or lose, tell him how proud that I am of him and the job he did this season. So, ironic that I'm trying to get away from Big Brother, but I think this is one last final hurrah. And I think it's going to be a great finish to, my time in the Big Brother community. And I also just want to be there for Kevin. I think it's going to be a really fun weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll be in Niagara Falls as well. So if anyone wants to come down, definitely come say hi.
And all the fans that come out, they'll be nice to you to your face. It's just the people, it's the people on the internet that are. It's funny,
Reddit and post like my experience at blah blah blah, and that's Jordan Parhar.
Jordan's an asshole. He sucks. It's funny. I've never had fans come up to me in person and say that I hate you, you suck. Except at Reality Rally, I had two sets of fans. I had one set of fans come up to me, say, Jordan, I really, really hated you during Big Brother OTT, and I do not like you at all because you were so pro Jason, and I just couldn't handle that the entire season. And I was like, okay, well, that's fair. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And then a woman later in the night came up to me and said, JP, I really just don't like you because you were so anti-Jason the whole season. I really just couldn't handle it. I was just like, okay, I just can't win with some of these fans. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So, hey, if you want to hate me to my face, it's okay. I've got thick skin. I can handle it. Especially if Kevin wins. I'll be so happy that weekend that I don't think anything's going to bother you. No, nothing's going to bother me. You could punch me in the face like what happened to Alex Kidwell that one time, and I'd be fine.
One time.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We got to end this Love Fest eventually. So, all right. We are going to have our show on Wednesday night with the LFC. And then also on Thursday after the finale. And don't forget, I'll have exit interviews as well there. And plenty more Survivor. We're about, 9 days from the finale. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up with Survivor winding down. We got about 2 more weeks of the Amazing Race. So, everything's coming to a head, Jordan.
Yeah, it's a fun time of year. Gotta love mid-May.
Yeah. Okay. And then don't forget, Alex Kidwell, Big Brother 19 is closer than you think.
That's right. It's just around the corner.
To go.
Yeah. I'm gonna take one of those famous 3-week hibernations and come out of my cocoon, brand new butterfly, ready to go.
Okay. All right. Of course. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre.
Don't tell Polly.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, if I hear you talk about a butterfly one more time, I'll get the spiciest toothpaste and I'll squeeze it down your throat. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Jordan, you take care, buddy. Okay.
Bye, guys. Love you so much. Take care.
Bye.